A truth is rising. Can you feel it? Because the Ace of Cups came out for the Divine Masculine today. I do feel his heart is overflowing, not with confusion, but with emotional clarity. And the emotional truth that he has buried for so long can no longer be denied. But is he going to speak it into existence, or is he going to let it slip away? Divine Feminine, it's time to break free. Not from the Divine Masculine, but from the illusion that he's the only way to love. Your liberation is magnetic. And so the moment you let go is the moment everything is going to shift, okay? The Tower is the combined energy of the twins today. This is the universe clearing the path, and I think it's being cleared very dramatically. What I got to say today is expect the unexpected, because anything that falls away and leaves your life right now means that it was never built on truth, and what rises in the ashes will be unstoppable. And so when the heart speaks, the soul listens. And when both of the twins surrender, that is when destiny will unfold. So get ready to absorb today's message. Hit that like button and let's talk about the astrology and go further with these cards. Hey, good morning. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome back. It is Laura, and we are going to talk about these astrological energies coming in for the Twin Flame Collective today, and then we will go deeper with some oracle and some tarot cards. And so we do have the sun entering into Gemini today, which is bringing forward this energy of the lovers. But before the sun moves into Gemini, we are going to have the sun in Taurus at 29 degrees in a sextile to Saturn in Pisces at 29 degrees. And so this is a really big karmic checkpoint for the twins. You can see the chart up here beside me on the screen of the sun sextile Saturn in Pisces. And so 29 degrees is an anaretic degree. This is emotional mastery. And so Taurus energy asks us to slow down. And I'm feeling that slowdown. I'm feeling that need to rest, to rejuvenate, because when the sun moves into Gemini, into the air sign, things are going to speed up a little bit. And so we're kind of at that karmic checkpoint before we launch. And I want to say especially for the Divine Masculine Collective, because this transit today is all about soul leadership and legacy decisions. And so we're kind of in a major closing portal moment, because Saturn is going to be moving into Aries later this week. And so we are at a culmination karmic checkpoint at that 29th anaretic degree. We're at that final degree placement. And so this is a cosmic test of mastery, okay? That's really what this energy is saying today. Saturn is the Lord of karma. It is the Lord of divine timing. And with it sitting at that 29th degree in Pisces, which is the final degree of the zodiac, right? Not just the final degree, but the final degree of the zodiac. We are preparing to enter into this Aries energy, and we are preparing to begin a new 30-year soul cycle. And so this isn't just the end of a major chapter. This is the end of an era for the Twin Flame Collective, okay? And so we're in this lifetime review energy in its energetic form. And so I feel the sun in Taurus is bringing in this very grounded, earthly energy. It's bringing a little bit of lightness to the process of the Piscean ocean of emotion. And so we are being asked right now to integrate our values and our embodiment with our emotional truth, okay? Because I was shown the Three of Wands to the King of Cups. And so this is soul level wisdom that we have gained on this twin flame awakening journey. And so our future can no longer be based on the past experiences. We've got to let that go, right? We're closing that out. We're at that final karmic checkpoint. And so did you learn the soul lesson? Did you actually learn the soul lesson? Or are you still clinging to the past? Are you ready to rise, or are you still holding on to something that needs to be released before you can actually rise like that phoenix? Because with the sun entering into Gemini, this is duality. This is the lovers union portal. This is the mirroring energy. This is communication. And this, I want to say, is soul recognition. And so as the sun leaves the slow Taurian stable energy, and it enters the quick-witted Gemini. I do feel we're going to feel a shift, right? From stability into motion, accelerated motion, accelerated ascension, but it's not going to feel chaotic, I don't think. It's going to be divinely guided momentum over the course of the next week or so into this integration energy, because Gemini does rule duality. We all have a Gemini area of our chart, whether it's a planet in Gemini or a house in Gemini. For me, I'm a Venus in Gemini, and I'm a 4th house Gemini, and so I do feel there's going to be duality. There's going to be mirroring connected to the Gemini areas of your birth chart. And this is the telepathic mental connection between the twins. And so this is going to amplify the telepathy, I feel, as the sun moves into Gemini. There's going to be mirrored dreams, mirrored triggers. There's going to be a lot of truth coming to light because of the air quality of the energy. We're going to have the sun in a trine to Pluto as well when it hits that 3-degree mark. And so there's going to be a lot coming through communication in signs and symbols and telepathy. And there's going to be like a pinging energy is what it felt like an energetic pinging between the twins. And so with Gemini also being Mercury ruled, there's going to be a lot of conversations in 5D, and that could translate to conversations in the 3rd dimensional reality. But pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the songs on the radio when you get in the car and you turn that car on, and pay attention to the symbols, because they are going to be carrying a lot of deep soul meaning in the energies over the coming days and weeks as the sun moves through Gemini. Okay. And so overall energies, I feel, with these transits today for the Twin Flame Collective is a major soul review. There's going to be a karmic assessment. Did you complete the lesson? Did you complete the cycle? Or do you have to rinse and repeat? Because we have an opportunity here to walk through the portal of these union energies, and the reconnection energy is opening that doorway with this transit. There's going to be a lot of emotional integrity coming forward, and that's going to become non-negotiable the further we get into these energies this week. And so the inner masculine and the inner feminine energies are going through a realignment for the next phase. We all have an inner masculine and an inner feminine, and we have to bring these into union, into wholeness before the external union can take place. And so this energy, I want to say today, is pivotal, especially with the Saturnian karmic closure and the Gemini magic mirror energy. And so we can't just want union. It's not enough to want union. We have to become a frequency match, and that's where the soul contract energy is demanding that full alignment as Saturn moves from Pisces into Aries. But we do have to keep in mind, Saturn in Aries is going to be going retrograde, and I believe it is July or June the 13th. I didn't write the date down before I jumped on, but I know it's the 13th, and I think it might be of June. Could be July. And then it's going to dip back into Pisces, and then we're going to have that final cleanup, right? And so right now I feel the divine feminine is coming into a lot of sudden emotional clarity, and there's going to be an awareness of just how far you've come. Man, I've been reflecting on just how far I've come since my Kundalini activation back in 2019. I'm not the same person I was back then. Heck, I'm not even the same person I was 6 months ago or a year ago. And so look at how far you've come, how little you need to chase anything right now in your life, because there's going to be a lot of strong intuitive hits coming forward for you, and there could be a lot of visions coming forward from the divine masculine or connected to past lifetimes, past timelines, okay? And there's this bittersweet nostalgia kind of brewing in the energies, right? That look back, that one last time, looking back and releasing this energy. And so this isn't like regression for the divine feminine. It's like the final tether being released, being cleared, the final unhooking of the old patterns. And you may feel a magnetic pull, but you're not going to feel this drive to act. You are in the energy of receiving. So allow yourself to receive, because I do feel a lot of the divine feminines that I've been working with and that I know have found my channel, you have done the work. You are ready to become the embodiment of the divine feminine to receive the next phase of your mission, of your journey, of your spiritual path. You have to trust that it's already in motion. And if you're feeling like a little bit lost or things are paused, trust in the divine detours or the divine delays, okay? Divine masculine energies, they're felt this very intense pressurized energy connected to the divine masculine collective, like a soul pressure, especially with Saturn at 29 degrees. This, I feel, is triggering an emotional reckoning with the divine masculine collective. And I do feel it's triggering feelings of guilt, regret, reflection, and there's this truth-seeking emergence in the energies today. This escapism, this avoidance, it's no longer going to be an option if the divine masculine is to rise with the feminine. And so the inner masculine right now is being called to be accountable to the inner feminine. No more hiding, no more running, no more avoiding. This checkpoint is saying a choice is going to have to be made. You can evolve or you can repeat. And that's where we're at. We're visibly seeing the timeline split in these connections. And a lot of the masculines will choose to repeat. Not all of the masculines will choose the path of evolution. And so the heart knows what the mind still fears, though. And so there's fear coming through, needing to be transmuted for the divine masculine. And the union will begin really once the divine masculine chooses his truth. And he's going to have to act on it. And so the big transit that this week is starting off with really is beginning this new soul cycle, this new soulmate cycle, especially with Saturn entering into Aries, especially because that's happening on May the 24th. And so what happens today is going to set the stage for the next Saturn cycle. So are we going to become empowered, or are we going to still stay bound to the old karmic scripts and timelines and loops? And so choose to release the past. Release the past with love. Embody your truth with spiritual strength in these energies, and open up to union in its highest form, even if it doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like, and even if that means union with somebody other than what you thought you were going to have union with. So let's go a little bit further. Let's see what needs to come through with the cards. We'll dig into these energies. We'll figure out what's going on with the karmic reckoning with the divine masculine, what the emotional release is for you, divine feminine, and we will close off with a universe message for both of the counterparts. So let's jump in. If you want to know more about your birth chart, though, in order to follow along with the astrological portion of the reading, comment free guide down below. I do have a free guide to the 15 basics of understanding your birth chart, especially if you're not quite ready to book in a personal blueprint soul reading with me. I do natal chart readings. I do soulmate synastry chart readings. But if you're not quite ready for that, I do have a free guide. And I also have a published ebook that is for download about the twin flame journey, the stages and the phases, and navigating them like a pro. If you'd like the twin flame book that I have written, comment twin flame book down below and I will send you the link to download my twin flame book. But let's get into these messages today. All right, let's break down these cards because this is the perfect karmic checkpoint spread for this union mirror theme that is coming through in the energies today. And so the Divine Masculine today did receive the Archangel Metatron card, and on the card it speaks of ancient wisdom and understanding, and it is a number 3 card, which I feel is in connection to alignment, the Holy Trinity, and forward movement. And so I feel, well, my interpretation of this card, we do see the Egyptian pyramids, we see the Book of Knowledge. I kind of feel this is a very clear indication that the Divine Masculine is embodying a deep spiritual initiation. Archangel Metatron is the archangel that governs sacred geometry, the Akashic records, and soul alignment. This is the Divine Masculine's call to rise. So at this karmic checkpoint today in the energies, with Saturn at that 29 degrees and the sun in a sextile to Saturn, I do feel the Divine Masculine is being asked to remember who he truly is. He is a soul that is here on a mission, and so he cannot operate from survival mode anymore. His current journey is about integrating this ancient soul wisdom with grounded human choices, which would represent that sun in Taurus energy. And so spiritual pressure, spiritual awakening. This is saying no more bypassing, no more hiding. So basically the Divine Masculine does hold the codes for that next phase if he chooses truth over fear. And so I kind of feel the Divine Masculine already knows this truth in his soul, but I kind of feel this energy of fear of acting on it still. Divine Feminine, interesting card that came out for you today. We got the isolation card. It's feeling like the Virgo South Node energy. It's feeling a little bit hermity. So look to where you have Virgo in your chart. But it does say lack of connections, and it's a 28 card. So I kind of feel like a 2 of Wands. And so you are at a crossroads moment here where you're going to have to make a choice. And so I kind of feel a lot of the feminines go on the path of reflection, and they go on the path of solitude. And that's the path that many of the Divine Feminines have been walking, whether it's emotional isolation, physical isolation, or spiritual isolation. And we go through this isolation not as a form of punishment, but when we go into isolation, it's the cocoon energy for the transformation, right? And so with the sun moving from Taurus into Gemini, the sign of communication, duality, and connection, the Divine Feminine is being called out of the cocoon, or called out of hiding, called out of hermit energy. Allow yourself to receive new connections. Allow yourself to get back into the flow, especially soul family connections. It doesn't always have to be about romance, Divine Feminine. Trust that the past cycles of betrayal and abandonment and isolation are done, but you too have to take that next step towards the new. And so I feel like the cocoon is over. It is safe for you to connect again. It is safe for you to call in soulful friendships, soulful allies. They are waiting for you. And so there is going to be new soul aligned connections that you are being guided to open up to, Divine Feminine, even if it feels a little bit scary, okay? The combined energies, I had to really sit with this one. I thought it was pretty interesting. We see the imagery of a crashing carriage, and the first thing that came to mind was the Cinderella story, okay? And it is, speaking of physical issues, it's a 30 card, so there is like a 4 of Wands energy, but I want to say in reversed, okay? And it says illness, accident, injury, and this is the combined energies. And so I feel this is major. This is huge. This kind of speaks to the Tower moment that came out in the combined energies with the tarot cards. And so there could be a forced slowdown in the physical realm, in the 3D realm, either for the Divine Masculine or the Divine Feminine, or both. This could actually mean health issues, maybe it's emotional burnout. But the symbolic energy of the carriage crash, I just feel there's going to be a life event that is going to force some type of change in direction. And it does tie directly to that Saturn karmic gateway. When we resist the soul alignment, the body will often speak to what the soul is trying to say. And so if the body isn't going into alignment, we will feel this physically, whether through an illness or an accident or an injury. And so the Cinderella symbolism is really important here, because Cinderella had to be ripped out of the illusion, right? The ball, the fantasy, and she had to return to her authentic timeline. And so the message for me is clear: no more illusions, no more delay. Time really is sacred, right? Life is short. Let's face it, life is short. So what are you waiting for, right? None of us are promised tomorrow. And so I feel this is a wake-up call for both of the counterparts. There could be a sudden realization, like I said, or a forced redirection. But there are real world consequences when we are energetically misaligned. So what is your body or your external reality trying to show you about what is no longer aligned for you on your twin flame journey or this awakening path? Because the bottom of the deck is the hidden influence here. And so this is what is hidden just below the surface, and we get the card of wealth. But it says abundance, and it also says entitlement. And so none of us are entitled to anything in this lifetime, right? An abundance, union, and deep emotional wealth are possible, but it is earned through alignment. So there could be past life karma around entitlement. Nobody owes you anything, right? The world owes you nothing. Nobody owes you anything. And so the entitlement part of this message, I feel there's lack of mentality. There could be misuse of wealth, whether it's emotional wealth, spiritual wealth, or material wealth. All of that has to be cleared. And so this is also, I want to say, a reminder of your worthiness. You're not meant to beg for love. You're not meant to beg for peace, and you're not meant to beg for prosperity. And let's face it, the path can be hard, but the rewards are truly sacred. And so I kind of feel there is hidden abundance here on the other side of this karmic release, but you have to reclaim your worth, and you have to claim that spiritual inheritance, which is like the fortune energy in the birth chart. And so the next timeline is going to be rich, but we do have to fully step into it, and we have to release that lack mentality. And so what beliefs around worth or wealth, whether it's emotional, material, or spiritual, are you ready to release that are no longer serving you on the path? So really sit with that, because it's a 2 card. And so we're kind of at that crossroads, right? And so I do feel the divine masculine is remembering his ancient knowledge, his ancient power, but he has to choose truth over illusion. And you need to emerge out of solitude and to call in and allow soul connections that will support you, because there's this energy of a karmic crash or a wake-up call. And when we go through this, it forces us to be fully present. And when we're fully present in the now, then we are fully aligned. And so true abundance is waiting, but we have to be met with integrity and courage, okay? Divine masculine, I only pulled 3 cards today for each of the energies. And the first card out for the divine masculine is the 5 of Cups. You can see we have somebody here crying over the spilt milk. You see the milk here on the card, the 2 of Cups and the spilt 3 cups, and it is spilt milk. And it says disappointment, regret, and forgiveness. And so this is where the divine masculine stands right now in front of his own karmic mirror. And I don't think it feels very good, because he's being asked to feel. He's avoided and rationalized and bypassed all of the pain he has caused, especially towards the divine feminine and others. And this is not about guilt. It's about acknowledgement. You have to stop defending yourself, divine masculine. You have to integrate the lesson. And there is a lesson here through forgiveness of self. And so this is the divine masculine's personal crucifixion moment, is what I feel in the energies today. That emotional reckoning that's kind of asking him to crack his heart wide open, because he can choose to stay stuck in shame And he can choose to just stay stuck infinitely. But if he forgives, then he can truly become free, right? And then we go right from the Five of Cups to the Ace of Cups. And this is speaking of emotions, relationships, intuition. We see a little girl here holding an Ace of Cups, which I feel is representative of the divine feminine inner child. And so this is his heart truth. This is what can no longer be denied. This is the rise after the Five of Cups. I feel this is very profound because this is the heart cracking open. This is the true love awakening. He can't lie to himself anymore. Not about his feelings for the divine feminine, not about what it is that he truly wants, and not about what love truly really is. And so this does speak of that desire for that emotional rebirth, the longing to start over with that clean slate, to be real, to be opened. His heart already knows the truth, but the question is, will he honor it? I think that's kind of still in question, because the last card out, the Seven of Pentacles, is his choice point, and it speaks of investment, assessment, and patience. And so this is his choice point. Keep watering the dead tree, or begin to plant a seed to water a new garden. So here he is at the crossroads where he's going to have to ask himself, what am I still pouring energy into that's no longer alive? Whether it's a karmic relationship, whether it's a people-pleasing habit, or a career that's maybe draining him, or it could just be a belief that is deeply rooted in his system out of fear. And so this is saying the waiting is over. This is it. It's decision time. I do feel he wants to invest in something new. He wants to build that new life, but he has to consciously choose growth over safety. And so watering a dead tree will never resurrect it, right? Once a plant is dead, it's dead. You can't resurrect it. So he's at the choice point of evolution, but will he choose it? I think that's kind of still in question here, okay? Divine Feminine, the first card out for you, I want to say, is this emotional imprint that is being released. And it's the Four of Wands, and it speaks of prosperity, contentment, and celebration. This is you letting go of the fantasy, I want to say. You have to let go of the fantasy. That union can only come through the twin flame. I feel there's grief here, but there's also relief, right? You've worked really, really hard to ground in that inner union, divine feminine. And now that emotional grip around, this is the one and only person for me, you have to let that go. You have to soften that belief, because the Four of Wands is also your birthright, right, of joy. And so celebrate the home that exists within you, not just within another person. You have to release that illusion that your worth is proven by being chosen, because it certainly is not, okay? And then we get the Nine of Wands. This is the higher insight. This is your soul guidance path, okay? It says resilience, preparedness, and protection. We all know what the Nine of Wands is. It is the energy of the wounded healer. And so your higher self is saying, do not give up now. You are in warrior energy. You're not coming from a place of wounded defenses anymore. This is your hard-earned wisdom. You're not meant to isolate, okay? You're meant to discern. You are ready for union. I do feel you are ready for union, whether it's with the divine masculine or a high vibration soulmate. And so this is all going to depend on your own inner strength, not desperation, okay? Do not be naive anymore. That is your superpower. Your superpower is discernment. And so the Eight of Air. This is your magnetic alignment. And I found this a little bit interesting because it says self-doubt, confusion, and free will. This is you staying open to the flow, and the Eight of Swords is all about being trapped, right, in an old mindset. And so this card, I want to say, is really massive for you, Divine Feminine. It's like the bars are self-imposed at this point in time. You always have the key. You always have the key. And so right now you are being asked to free yourself from the cage of beliefs that say, if it's not him, it's no one. Okay, let that belief go, because there are billions of people in the world, and this is not the only one, okay? And release the old belief of, I will never find a love like this again. Can you imagine if the universe showed you a glimpse of that, how much better it will be after you've healed and after you've come into alignment? You will find a love like this again, even if it's not with this person. Trust, if it's not him, it's no one. You got to let that go. That's a really distorted belief. Union can only happen one way. That's a distorted belief too. And so this message, I feel, with the Eight of Swords for you, Divine Feminine, is asking you to reclaim your sovereignty. Be open to divine timing without attaching to one outcome, because there's more than one person out there for you, okay? This is you getting to a place of self-liberation. This is the magnetism towards that true union, and that's what's going to strengthen here, because union is a frequency, and the person that is meant for you will meet you there. It's not necessarily going to be the person you think is your divine masculine, okay? That's where the journey is really interesting. So let's talk about the combined energies. The Six of Air, or the Six of Swords. It's inviting in relief, hope, and moving on. So this is the mirror activation. This is what the twins do reflect to one another. And so we are both in a period of emotional migration, I want to say. Moving out of that mental noise, moving out of emotional chaos, and we're moving straight ahead. We're moving to solid ground is what I want to say. This is the calm after the karmic storm. Whether the twins reunite in this chapter or not, both of the twins are traveling from distortion to clarity, from past to present. And so they do reflect each other's desire to find peace. The mirror now is not pain, I want to say, but possibility. And so I think both of the twins are learning peace is a choice. We have to choose it, and peace actually is magnetic, right? Okay, the King of Cups, and it came through in my astrology channeling. This is emotional mastery. This is compassion. This is trustworthiness. This is the union frequency that both of the twins must align to. This is the emotional anchor of union, not passion, not obsession, but compassion and emotional maturity. And so this card is all about showing up with that heart-centered clarity. And we do have to be emotionally available, not emotionally volatile. So both of the twins must step into their divine masculine heart, steady, aware, loving, and trustworthy. The heart of union is not about fireworks. It is about a stillness that holds it all, okay? The last card out is the Tower. This is the next phase. This is the timeline opening up, and the angels are dragging you there because divine timing is right now. And I love the Tower because it does liberate us. So there's going to be a realization. There's going to be a karmic collapse. This actually is the breakthrough, the breakdown for the breakthrough. The false structures have to crumble. Whatever was built on fear, whatever was built on avoidance or denial, it all has to be dismantled. And so this is the moment where both twins either cling to the rubble or surrender to the rebuild. And it's fast. I want to say the Tower comes in fast. The Tower brings clarity. And it's not the end, right? The Tower really is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the rebuilding if they allow it. And so what breaks now this week was never, ever meant to last anyway. So let it fall away. Let it leave your life. Because I do feel the masculine is at a karmic threshold. I do feel the masculine is really being asked to own what he's chosen to do. He's being asked to choose that growth, to stop staying looped in regret. And the divine feminine is releasing these attachments. What I thought was phenomenal. The bottom of the deck was all majors. We got the Magician. This is all about manifestation, empowerment, and preparedness. As above, so below. There's a brand new cycle here. This is divinely guided. The Wise Counselor, or the Hierophant. This is learning. This is traditions. This is relationships and belonging, commitment and awakening. And so time's up. We've got the Hanged Man card. And so it's time to gain that new perspective about relationships, about commitment, about our abilities to manifest the life that we truly desire. This is the Gemini energy. This is the Taurus energy. This is the Pisces energy. And then we get the Judgment card, which is the awakening moment. And so there's a lot of reflection and self-evaluation going on in these energies. And so there is choices to be made. in the energies today. And I want to say choose wisely, because what you own and what you choose will own you back and choose you back. Is it really what you want? And so I kind of feel Archangel Michael, or Archangel Metatron, pardon me, is guiding the divine masculine into this gateway. He's being called to remember who he truly is, not the masks that he wears, not the roles that he plays. And I think he is facing a lot of regret. And I do think this regret is really loud. I think his heart needs to be speaking to him louder than the fear. And I do think this wave of emotion can no longer be denied. And I feel the divine feminine is being asked to embody that union in that higher frequency, to stop waiting, to start choosing yourself over all of these limitations, even if it means walking alone for a while. Because I do feel the body is now the messenger in these energies. And let's face it, life is short. The time is now. We can't be sleepwalking. We can't be waiting for someday on somebody. We have to live in the now moment. So let's talk about the final message from the universe, because we did get the card of friendship. It's a 14 card. There's some karmic debt here. It speaks of support, fun, unity, and play. I kind of just feel this is the divine saying, hey, this is the invitation. Lighten up a bit. Reconnect with joy. Seek those soul-aligned friendships. Union doesn't grow in that pressure cooker energy of control. It does blossom in the energy of play, trust, and shared joy in shared connections. Whether it's between the twins or new connections, let's face it, to have fun is healing, right? Laughter is actually very sacred. Unity starts in that small heart opening moment of being fully present, right? And remembering the simplicity of love is enjoying life in the present moment. So be with those who make your soul feel light, okay? And then on the bottom of the deck, we did get the duality card, and it speaks of many meanings and misunderstandings. And I do feel this is connected to the Gemini energy, but this really is a call for compassion, perspective. And so when we do experience mirrored triggers or distorted perceptions of each other, not everything is what it seems, right? The truth lives in the space in between all of the extremes of life. And so there really is no villain in this journey, and there really is no victim, right? It's just two souls learning, unlearning, and remembering, right? And so the union is never going to be black and white like that Gemini duality. It's actually an alchemical process, right? And it's the alchemy of the heart and the head, and it requires time and it requires surrender. And so where you see only one truth, take a step back, breathe, and look again, because there are multiple truths. This and that can be true at the same time. And so let's face it, the twin flame path is not perfect, and it's not about perfect timing at all. And divine timing is always up to us. It is about perfect alignment with our truth, and that will speed up divine timing. And so I think both of the counterparts in this moment today are being asked to choose love, not the fantasy of love, not the fantasy, right? But the embodiment of it, right? And to drop the illusions, to release the cages, and to remember that we are not here to wait for anybody. We're not here to chase anybody. And we are actually here to just embody our soul fully and unapologetically. And that does require authenticity. And that is the place that union is birthed, either with your twin or somebody who will be equally aligned. And that's going to become inevitable as we close out these energies with Saturn and Pisces at 29 degrees. And so the next timeline will begin when you choose your truth over that fear, when you choose your presence over that projection, and that freedom over control. Because I do feel the doorway is open, but the choice is always yours, right? We all have free will on the journey. So that's what I got for a message today. If you would like to go further with a personal reading, twin soul reading, or some coaching, I do offer twin flame coaching, and I also offer astrology mentorship. Check out the links below. But just remember, this message today is about guidance and empowerment. I'm never here to tell you what to do. The cards are never here to tell you what to do, but hopefully it nudges you in the right direction, right? Take this reading and all readings as an opportunity to step into your power to create the life you truly want. And that's what I got today.